Here we are in the garden again, and I'm playing at little grey Riding Hood today with my basket of goodies and my hoodie. It's just killing the lockdown here. So today we're going to talk about courgettes, because courgettes are one of those things that astounded me that I could actually grow in Scotland. I didn't believe for a second I'd be able to, but they grow really well. So I've got 4 plants. I've got one in a container, a normal big pot, one in a bed, and I've got 2 that is an experiment this year that are grown in quadgrows. So I thought it'd be a fabby chance to have a look at that and talk to you guys about growing courgettes. Because to be honest, I need to get them harvested. So let's talk about this then, harvesting courgettes. First bit of advice I'm going to give you is courgettes tend to be quite spiky and they make me itch like mad, so just be careful. I really should have gloves on, but I'm a muppet and I forgot. But courgettes then, size. Right, this is too big. Don't leave them to get this big, okay? Because the bigger they get, the less flavour they've got. They're just full of water, okay? So that's too big, but unfortunately when it's the big leaves like that, I don't always notice them. Okay, we're going to go to one of the other plants to get one that's just right. No, wrong fairy tale lie, that's Goldilocks. Here we go. That one is a nice little small one, okay? You may think, oh, but that's too small, what's the point? When they're small like that, that's when they're the best flavour. We'll find an in-between one. That's a really good, nice, proper size. Not too small, not too big. You can do loads with that. Hello, you. Kate's out burning the weeds, setting fire to things. Right, we're over here on the quadgrow courgettes. So the first thing I'll update you about this then is this was my experiment, and I wondered, would having them in some sort of system where they get really even, consistent watering, would that make a difference? Or would they grow just as well in the pot or in the bed, or would they grow better in one? So the first thing I can tell you then is, and I'm just going to harvest as I go, spikies. Tell you about this one. The first thing I can tell you is it doesn't seem to have actually made much difference. All 4 plants are doing really well. These ones are currently slightly smaller than the ones over there, but these were the runts that I was going to bin because they just didn't come on. And I thought I'd put them out as an experiment and then I wasn't losing anything. So I'm not worried about them being smaller at the moment because they were smaller to start with. But these were the first ones to flower. Don't know if that means anything, but that leads me to these. Do you see how these guys are a funny shape? Kind of nice thick courgette and then goes really small at the end, okay? This is because on your courgette plants, you've got female flowers and male flowers. And the female flowers need to be pollinated in order to make your courgette. And if they don't, then the end does this and they tend to rot. And this one has rotted at the end, okay? So if you see that, don't panic. It's not blossom end rot or anything like that. It's just that that fruit's not been fertilised. Now, let me show you so you can recognise the female versus the male flowers. So here you can see we've got some flowers that have what looks like a little mini courgette. You can see them here, okay? That's your female. It's the female flower that the actual fruit grows on. So when you see that, the little thick stem that looks like a mini courgette, that's your female. And this one that you can see here, that's just a big stem with a flower, that's the male, okay? Now, you will probably find that when the plants are new and they first start to flower, you might get lots of female or lots of male, and then you won't get the cross-pollination happening. That is totally normal. Don't worry about it. It will even out. It just means possibly your first few fruits, if it's female flowers first, can't speak, your first few fruits, if they're female flowers first. You couldn't do that after a strawberry daiquiri, could you? You may find they just don't get pollinated, so you'll get that kind of rotten at the end thing. But it'll sort itself out. Okay, now, the other thing that might be handy, I discovered, I used to always worry about these leaves having this white on them. Okay, and I'll shove the link up for you. I did a video before where I said that I used to go around and actually cut all that off because I worried that it was, I've forgotten the name of it.
Powdery mildew.
Thank you, that was Kate. It was powdery mildew. So I used to cut all the leaves off and worry. Since then I've learned that that's actually natural. The leaves do have that natural colouring. However, I do have powdery mildew, so it means I can now actually show you what it is. But I've also learned that some folk actually don't bother cutting leaves off, they just leave it. I'm not sure about that yet. I've left it long enough so that I can show you it in a video, but I'm getting quite jumpy. So this is powdery mildew, okay? So you can see the difference. Instead of it being this pattern on the leaves, it's all of these little white dots. Now, if you leave it long enough, it will just be dots to start. But because I've left it to show you guys, I can see now that they're raised and they are, quite obviously, it's a fungus. Okay? You get it in the front and the back of the leaves. So that's what that is. But, just to show you, I've got my handy snips. If you do want to go round and cut any of this off, there are two ways you can cut the leaves off, okay? Now, I've got to do this anyway because I have a really serious pest problem with these two plants. It's not slugs. You can see I've got my copper tape round the bottom to stop the slugs. It's not caterpillars. It's not beetles of any kind. Kate, what's the pest we've got that's eating my courgette plants?
A calico cat. That calico cat, in fact.
Is Penny. Penny comes out here and just sits here like it's a salad bar and just eats my plants. It's driving me nuts. So, here you go. First way you can cut them, right? These little ones is dead easy. You can just cut the stem and it's gone. But when you get to these bigger ones, let me find you a good one to show you. This is a good example to show you. Okay, so Penny has chewed the hell out of this leaf. And you can see it's quite a mature leaf, so it's this quite wide stem. Now, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to do it just to show you. If I cut down here, you'll see that it's hollow. Okay, so what will happen now is that will release the liquids that are in that stem. It releases its scent, and that can attract pests. Okay, so what you can do if you want to disguise that is you can spray it with some like peppermint oil, something like that, just to disguise the scent. But the other thing you can do if you don't want to cut all the way back here is you can just cut the leaf at the very top. And you'll see that way you don't get the hollow stem problem. You'll still get a little bit of the liquid, but it's not as bad as if you're cutting there. So that's the two ways you can cut to tidy up your plants. So that just leaves me now to go around and tidy up the rest of the plants and to harvest all of the courgettes that I'm wanting to harvest. Because that's the trick with these, harvest them, because the more they harvest, the more they'll produce. It's like anything else. Right, so I'm going to leave you there and I'm going to head off and get this done. And I will see you at 10 AM UK time on Sunday for the next video. And if you're having a wee cup of tea and you're bored and you want to have a bit of a binge, some options, you can have a wee watch there. See you guys.